Are you paying too much in taxes? Elevated Tax and Accounting is a firm that specializes in tax planning and strategy to minimize your tax bill. Elevated Tax consult with you on tax strategy throughout the year, so no more waiting until the end of the year and hoping for the best. As a business owner, you know your sole focus should be spent working on your business, not in it. Outsourcing gives you the time to concentrate on the core reasons you started your company, to create and innovate a top-tier product and generate profits. Elevated Tax and Accounting, elevating you and your business with a modern professional touch.
Take us through the stretch leading up to the rivalry, and how big was the win on Monday going into this week?
Big. The biggest thing for us going into Monday was just the quick turnaround, 3 games in 5 days. Fortunately, it was a team we had already played before, so the prep was short. And we spent most of the time on Sunday really just kind of cleaning up some things on our end. So it felt good to go out and see the guys execute.
The game last year, I think it was like, you play on Saturday when you had the brawl, and then you had to immediately play after Monday. This one's kind of different because it was a 3-game and 5-day stretch, and then you get kind of like the 6 days off in between. So was it nice to maybe kind of have a little bit of a buffer, especially after that, 3-game stretch?
Yeah, I've always enjoyed this week being a week for change. When it's a full off week, we typically would maybe add some things offensively or defensively, tweak some coverages, things like that. But with Monday being a game day, Tuesday being a day off, you don't really have the opportunity to do that like you would in a rivalry most of the time.
Obviously the default question is a lot of new faces going to see this game for the first time on your guys' end. So just what do you tell them about this game? How do you kind of explain what the atmosphere will be like here in Missoula?
Huge to the environment, huge to the community. Even if you're watching it on TV, you'll feel it. I think the thing I always look forward to is the players that are playing this game for the first time. And to kind of hear them talk about what it felt like when the game is over, especially after a win. But it's an exciting moment for everyone.
Specifically with them, some new faces as well on their side and some guys back from a year ago. What kind of has stood out about their start to conference play and what the Cats have brought to the table?
It's kind of hard to explain the start for either of our teams this year. I think both of us have been up and down, inconsistent. Both of us think that we have more talent probably than what our record shows. So there's a lot to still be determined between the two teams. But from what I've seen from Montana State, they played some good ball in some stretches. Always going to be explosive offensively with so much shooting on the floor. Probably one of the better one-on-one players in Walker around the basket. So a tough cover, and it's going to be important for us to bring our best defense.
When there is so much roster evolution this day and age, what is the process of having a team come together, or where do you think you guys are at just in terms of finding true cohesiveness?
It's hard every year. Every year is different, right? Because they all come from so many different places and have so many different experiences. You spend most of your time evaluating what you have. And for us this year, half of the guys we brought in were injured and really didn't participate very much in the summer. So it was September, October. We were still evaluating not only our talent, but skill set and ability to play with one another. So for us, we're still evolving in January like we typically would maybe in November, early December. So it's been a little different for us this year, but the reality is to just keep the environment as competitive as possible and grow as the year progresses.
You have nice talent, though, and you've had some high water marks. So how close are you, and also how much patience does it take to get to what you think the top level for this team is?
Unlimited patience. And we're still evaluating talent. I think that what you do every day and what you show more often than not typically is who you are as a person, as a basketball player. And right now we're collecting data. So we'll continue to work with these guys and get better and coach them. But we're nowhere near our ceiling, and we know that. So we'll just keep growing.
You have started the same 5 players for an extended stretch now. So what have they shown you? What have you liked about how they're playing?
Well, there's experience with that group for one. Versatility. Most of those guys can play multiple positions and play college basketball. And it's our healthiest group. So there's some chemistry there in regards to guys that have been on the floor the most. But nothing's ever set in stone.
You get them at home before you go to the Brick when you have an intense rivalry like this. How big is it to start things off on your home court with the crowd behind you?
It's good. We're both coming off of wins. I'd like to say that momentum plays a role sometimes. I think we're still, like I said, we're still a work in progress. Both teams But it's always fun to open up at home.
And then me and my Bozeman guy are doing a conjoined story about how both teams added a Western Washington guy this year. You guys with Kai Johnson, just the story of how he got here and all that.
Just hard work. We scrimmaged them a couple times, so we were aware of who he was. So I think for us it was an easy evaluation, where sometimes when you're looking through the portal, the stat sheet says one thing, but you got to watch a lot of film to get a feel. And we prepared to play for him a few times, so we knew who he was, we knew how he fit. So that was an easier evaluation for us. And then he had played here before, so he knew what this was. So I don't think we had to spend as much time educating him on the environment and what it's like to be in Missoula. He'd been to a football game prior, so there were some experiences that helped with that process.
It's kind of ironic because there is a lot of new faces, but I think between Brandon Whitney and Tyler Patterson, I think these guys are two of the leaders in the country among starters at their respective schools. From Brandon's perspective, bringing him back for the 5th year, kind of what has he brought over the years, and just being one of these kind of rare athletes who've stayed his whole time here.
Sets examples. He's always been one to lead by example in terms of being coachable and prepare to compete every day, regardless to what type of practices it is, coming off a win, coming off a loss, long film sessions, things like that. He's prepared to grow. And I think that when you have a young man like that shows up every day and has been here, he helps set the tone for all the new faces.
Was he like that when he got here too? Because he's never been the most vocal guy, but it seems like he's very shows by example and just kind of steady each year.
He's always been prepared for the moment, which is why he's played so much from day one.
Is it will you marry me in your future? Or maybe you do it all over again. Hi, I'm Brian Toon with Jewelry Design Center, inviting you to come see the largest selection of Will You Marry Me in the state of Montana. The brightest diamonds of every shape and size, unique settings built to last, and skilled jewelers on site offering free sizing and maintenance for life, because that's how long we want to be your jeweler. Jewelry Design Center in Missoula, on Brooks, across from the Montana Club.
Montana State, do they look different than a year ago, or is it pretty similar in terms of just the stuff they're running?
A lot different. Last year their strength, I felt like with their guards, their backcourt, and then they surrounded them with pieces that fit. Now they're more forward-laden team, and there'll be times where there's 4 or 5 forwards on the floor. So they're a lot different than they were last year.
They can run some lineups with big size, so how do you sort of combat that? What do you think about that element of this matchup?
We've seen a lot of that, from Eastern Washington last year to some of the high majors we've played this year. There's a few teams in our league now that have gotten big. For us, it's use our speed, spread them out, and they got to guard us too. So we'll find some things that will be advantageous for us and try to be the most physical team tonight.
Seems like money is obviously popping up on the top of everybody's scouting report. How have you thought he's handled that, and how have you seen him evolve, especially Monday? I mean, what a great game distributing the ball.
Yeah, he's growing. I think for him, he's still somewhat a freshman. Only played half season last year, if that. Never really was on the top of the scouting report. You usually don't see that until you get to conference. So, these few games we've played in conference, he's learning what it's like to show up and have someone try to take away your strength and then adjust to that. Like everyone else, still working on this.
Playing the tough non-conference schedule, how do you think that's prepared you guys for this 5-2 start for this guy?
That's all we've ever done. This is year 11 of that. So for me, it's more about preparing us for March, February, March, when things get hard and adversity and fighting through it. Multiple games in a short period of time. But I think that when you go out and you play good stretches against the number 1 team in the country, number 5 team in the country, number 10 team in the country, you grow with confidence. You believe that there's potential in the group. And sometimes you grow in terms of what you believe in your teammates. So we know there's a lot of potential based on our performances in those games. We just got to put it together and be consistent.
Cash One Pawn, Missoula's #1 pawn shop.
You want money? We got money. You need money? We got money. We're cash.
Do yourself a favor and make Cash One Pawn part of your online shopping habits. Cash One Pawn has an awesome online inventory, everything from firearms to power tools to speaker equipment to jewelry. Visit Cash One Pawn today.
Cash One Pawn.
8720 Roller Coaster Road, CashOnePawn.com.
Coach Houck and Coach Lawrence earlier in the fall mentioned how, like, through all the changes of college athletics, having that true traditional rival is still kind of a special thing to have, with everything that's changed. Like, do you look at it like that too? Is it kind of nice to still have, you guys have, Eastern and Weber, big games, but like to have that true traditional rival through all the changes?
They're rivals more for the fans than the players. I don't know that the players actually feel it in their first year. If your locker room isn't full of guys that have played in the game before, I don't know that there's enough people that share the experience, share what it is that we're preparing for on Saturday. So it's more of a rival for the fans, the community, and then the coaching staff that's been here. At least that's the vibe that I get right now. So you try to explain it to the guys, but they're going to learn when you throw them in the field.
You guys have been so good at home this year. What have you thought of these guys sort of embracing the protect your home court mentality?
They've been great. We've had some pretty good competition here in non-conference tournament, obviously right off the bat with conference. So I think the guys have done a really good job, one, of just taking care of themselves and having a good amount of energy when at home. You should be more rested when you're at home. But I think the biggest thing for us as a group, though, is treat every game the same.
You're recruiting guys out of the portal. How much do you use this big game, rivalry, atmosphere stuff in recruiting to get guys here?
It's individual. Every kid has something different. It's important to commit. We're looking for the biggest thing when you're recruiting recruits is, or transfers, is you got to find out what's important to them. And so if the environment and things like that seem to be something that entertains them, then we use it. But if not, then we discuss it.
You and Coach Logie go back a long way. Just what's impressed you about him after going head-to-head against him in big-time games for the first time last year?
Well, I've been coaching against him for a long time. Since I've been here, he's a rookie. So he's the same coach he was back then. He's grown, obviously, with more experience and things like that. But phenomenal offensive mind, good at preparing his team, and wins a lot of games over a period of time. So I'm happy for him, proud of him. Excited to see him continue with success.
Is there a key factor or key factors that will dictate the way this game goes on Saturday night, if you had to point to one or two?
Our key factors are going to be the same every night. We need to be more physical. We need to be a unit. If we do those two things, we'll be fine. So we'll stick to that script for the rest of the season.
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Town Pump. Right down the road. Pump it up. Oh, yeah.
Big Sky Breakdown, proudly presented by the Bobcat Collective at Montana State. The Bobcat Collective is the NIL collective that serves Montana State University student athletes. The collective has partnered with Montana State to connect fans, alumni, businesses, and local nonprofits with Montana State student athletes. Opportunities through the collective allow student athletes to earn compensation while serving the greater Montana State University community. Sign up now for memberships and enjoy automatic entry into raffles for free tickets while supporting the bright minds at Montana State. They have multiple different membership tiers, and you can also be a one-time supporter, and you can also business partner or corporate supporter. Visit bobcatcollective.com for more. Well, Big Sky Breakdown, as well as SkylineSportsMT.com and ESPN Montana. Matt Logie, the head coach of the Montana State Bobcats, joining us leading up to Montana State's trip to Missoula for the renewal of a rivalry against the Montana Grizzlies. Coach, thanks for being here. How you been? I haven't talked to you in a while. How's things going?
Good to see you. Happy New Year. Things are going well.
First of all, let's talk about your team. It seems like you guys have turned a corner these last couple weekends in league play. I know a little bit of a tough start to the conference season, but even with the one against Northern Colorado that slipped away a little bit, since then, though, it seems like you've been playing really well, and you've won a couple in a row. So what's been the turning point, and what do you like about the way your team's playing right now?
Yeah, I think for this group, we've played some really good basketball at a lot of various times. Obviously, have had some disappointing finishes to games in situations we need to execute a little bit better in key moments. And that's been part of this team's journey and process and learning how to win together. I think we've learned some really important things about our group in recent weeks, and the thing that's been most exciting is the way our guys have stuck together through the process and just been committed to continuing to grow and fill gaps in what we've seen and learned from, and try to apply those to the next opportunity that we've been given.
I ask every coach this in this day and age because it seems like it's a common challenge for everybody. What's the process like of getting a team to come together? Because it seems like in college basketball right now, like hardly anybody has a whole roster of returners, right? You got some that are returners, some that are new guys. Seems like everybody has a different process and kind of getting everybody to coalesce. What's yours, and how do you think it's been going?
Yeah, it's definitely a different process than when I started as a head coach 13 years ago, where you would, be able to build continuity from one year to the next and maybe carry over from time to time 75 to 80% of minutes played, and so to speak. Now it's much more normal to have to incorporate 5 or 6 new players onto your team, which requires a great deal of relationship building. Obviously, a great deal of that is done nowadays in a very small window of time in the transfer portal in the spring, and then you've got all summer and fall to try to build those relationships and teach the style of play that you have, and then I think ultimately, as you turn the corner into the season, now you start going through the ups and downs of competition and with the lights on, and you learn more new things. It's been a really rewarding process to be a part of. When you get to the end of it and you look back, like obviously last year we were playing our best basketball at the end of the year. It didn't mean that the process was necessarily always the most enjoyable as you went through those ups and downs. And this year, although we have a little bit more continuity in my style versus continuity at the university, we've still had to incorporate a lot of new pieces and figure out how to maximize each person's potential, and then learn lessons together that we can apply against a pretty challenging schedule. So it's just the new landscape that we're in. And I think the key for us has been, holding on to the core values that have made us successful in the past, even if we have to try to speed up the way that those kind of get actualized on the basketball court.
Bobcats win again.
So, 5th quarter at the R Bar?
Dude, I could crush a burger right now. Can you guys pick it up? I'm thirsty back here. Guys, what's up? Hop on in. 5th quarter's this way.
Oh, new R Bar merch.
Yo, what's the 5th quarter?
They have food, drinks, and giveaways after every home game.
And these sweet Bobcat cups.
Oh, I'm in.
Take me to the R Bar.
Join us at the Rocking R Bar after every home game for the 5th quarter.
Let's celebrate the spirit of blue and gold.
Replacing players is always a part of the college basketball journey, but Robert Ford III was such a pivotal player, but also a high usage player at such a pivotal position with what you guys do. So what's the challenge been like to replace him, and how do you think that's gone just in terms of finding yourself a new point guard?
Yeah, I think that's been probably one of the things that we've been working through as the year goes on. I think there's two sides of the coin when you talk about filling the void that Rob left behind. On the one side, you've got just his basketball ability itself, his ball handling, his defense, his rebounding, his clutch, attitude in big moments and competitive spirit, which kind of leads you to the other side of the coin, which is kind of that leadership component and the passion that he provided to our team in practice every day and on the floor when the lights were on. You don't just plug and play guys like that. You've got to allow the next leadership person or leadership group to emerge, and sometimes that takes a little bit of time, which we've seen this year. But I think the collective strength of our guys, relationships with one another and commitment to the expectations here at Montana State have been what has allowed us to kind of get through that fire a little bit, so to speak.
Matt Logie joining us here on Nuanez now, second-year head basketball coach for Montana State. They're in Missoula on Saturday. Maybe you're listening on the Big Sky Breakdown podcast series, no matter how you're listening in. Appreciate you for tuning in. When you turn on the film with the Grizz, they also have a ton of new faces. One, though, that's such an interesting fold is not a new face to their program, but a new face to the Big Sky and Money Williams. I know it's his second year, but didn't play any league games last year. He seems like the head of the snake for Montana, though. What do you think of their sort of fresh to the rivalry point guard?
Yeah, Money was off to a terrific start last year. Obviously, we were able to, follow the success that he had early on in his freshman year, and obviously, had the disappointing injury and has been through just a ton off the court, which has obviously been well documented. I think he's somebody that just provides a real dynamic presence on the ball. He can make his teammates better with his ability to pass, and obviously has the ability to really explode as a scorer as well. So he's somebody that obviously is filling some of the void left behind by guys like Josh Vasquez and Anna Moody in their graduation. But I think Malik Moore has been equally as impressive with the shot making and scoring ability that he's brought to the Grizz this year. And obviously, when you have a really steady presence at the point guard position and Brandon Whitney, that helps guys that are kind of wired to score like Money and Malik find their footing rather quickly.
What else do you think is going to be keys for your team in Missoula? What are some of the ins and outs of this matchup on the Montana State side of things?
Well, I think, when you talk about the Cat-Griz rivalry, all of these games are going to be in great basketball environments. I think when whether you're at home or on the road, it's really important to, use that when it's an advantage for you in terms of, whether that's energy in the building or energy on the floor with your team. But you also have to maintain your poise and your execution, especially when you're on the road, and understand that, sometimes in opportunities like that where there's a big crowd and a lot on the line, the great teams don't get outside of themselves. They stay level-headed, and they're able to be true to their identities. And I think in games like this, that's really, really important that you can both play with confidence and joy and excitement, but also be detailed about what really matters.
Rematch of the Big Sky title game from last March, Montana State, 7 o'clock, Saturday night, Dahlberg Arena. Matt Logie, Montana State head coach, joining us. Coach, thanks for being here, man. Thanks for the time.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.